Good morning. This video presentation is about the use of Mendeley Citation Manager software. It's a presentation done by Prof. Rustenberg, BSW 471 lecturer at Potchefstroom campus. Yes, and welcome to this short video presentation. It shows you how to make use of software that can make your life much easier if you are in an academic environment such as a student or a lecturer, and you need to use Mendeley or a citation manager program to assist you with the whole process of referencing in your assignments or in your mini dissertation or any kind of formal academic document. So, welcome to this, and we have divided the whole session into a number of short episodes that will explain the different aspects of citation manager software. Yeah, okay. First of all, we need to know how to download and install Mendeley. It's actually a very simple process of going to the web. So I'll just show you now. Okay, so this is the Mendeley download site on Google, so it's very easy to get it, and you can just click on the download option, and it gives you then the whole process of how you go through doing it. And you need to create an account, and that will help you to get started on it. So just remember that there are two tools that you can also download that are very. First is the web importer. The web importer is a button that helps you to directly add articles from any website on Google, including the library. You simply save it or take it over from that site into your program. And then the second one is the citation plugin. The citation plugin is installed in Word. Very simple process. So I'll show you just now how to do that as well. Okay, so once you have downloaded Mendeley onto your desktop and it has been installed and you've created an account for yourself with a password that works, then you should be ready to start the rest of the process and to begin using your Mendeley. So this is what Mendeley looks like on the inside once you have opened it, and I have already opened my version on my computer. So we are ready then to start importing articles. So what I have done is to insert a number of articles already. So usually when you get an article either through the library or from the internet, you can bring it right into Mendeley by just dragging and dropping it. So I will now show you how that has to be done. It's a very simple process of dragging and dropping. Okay, so in order to show you how to import documents into Mendeley, let me first show you how to get to a relevant article to the library. So this is where you have to go under the library, Bibliotheek en Inligtingsdienste, library and information services. So this is the EDS search. You can enter a title here and you can click search and it will take you to all instances of that one. So I've already done that, and this is the kind of window that you will get. This is a simple search, so I'm not going into all the different search engines, but this one kind of takes a whole broad view. So let's say that I have a topic here with the following keywords: youth offender programs. So you can simply type it into this sentence here and click search, and then you get to these kinds of options. Now take note that at this stage there are about 30 pages and some 117,000 different sources. Now, to go start reading from the top to the bottom is not going to help very much. So usually what you do is to limit your search. So doing library searches is obviously not part of this video, but I will just show you quickly how it works so that you have that background too. So what you do, first of all, is to decide where do I need to find this term, youth offender programs. And let's just assume that we want it in any text related to the article. So it does not, it's not limited that closely. So if you now click on search, usually the number stays either the same or it may be, okay, it may be slightly less, but not much. So the whole idea of a literature search is to reduce it to more practical numbers that you can at least read and scan through and see whether you want to use those articles. So the one way to go about it, to limit it, is to say, okay, these words must be in the title. Now, if you have 3 words, and the library search engine will look at whether all 3 words appear in the title. So it's maybe a little bit constraining the search if you have the more keywords you have in the first line. Okay. It's rather better to take out, for instance, programs, and rather put that into the second one, because now uh, it will start looking at youth offenders and programs. You see, you can do it like that, and that's actually quite logical. Use and here, not or. So and is fine. And let's say that it must be in the title as well. Now, let's see what happens if I limit down the search to that level. Right, and the moment we do that, this goes down to a smaller number that begins to look more um, realistic to work with. So either you can now start like I'm doing, scanning through the titles and looking at whether it is fine, and we can maybe use this. So, right, but that's now another topic. So let's say that you want to use this particular PDF, this document. So you can open it here. Right, and you see the article. Okay, looks like something that I would like, an exploration of arts-based programs. Okay. Now, there are different ways to go about using or getting this article into Mendeley. So the one is by installing that plugin, the web importer. You are able to directly take this article and put it into your Mendeley library. Okay, so all you do is you click on this one, Mendeley web importer, and it says, okay, you need to sign in. Um, okay, so now why is it not signing in? Okay, so it does not work this way, but at the moment, what you need to be doing, you need to realize that Mendeley is operating um, in this mode. It's operating online. So you actually have an online library and you have a local library on your desktop. So I prefer to use the desktop version. So I'm not going to go this route of importing it into the online version. So all I do, which I find is a very easy way, is to download this one and to store it somewhere on a document of mine, a place where you want to store it. So let's say this, we call it article 1. And okay, so this is the first article that I want to download. So we say article 1. So now it is stored on my PC and I can go back to Mendeley to import it. So this is this is what my library looks like. I'll show you. It's very easy now to go to that one, that article, and to bring it in from your folder where you have stored it. So here it comes. So I'm just dragging and dropping it in here. Okay, so what it does is it puts it in the correct place where, according to the surname, and yeah, so you need to find it in, all right, and then you do the following. So okay, let's say that we've got this article. Okay, so if you click on an article like this, it shows up the details for this article in your information box here. Okay, so this is the article. It's just one of the examples, and by clicking on it, you can open it. Okay, so look here, you just click on it, and then it shows the article, and you can check the details. You have to check it over here. If you don't check it, it may be that the details that come from the PDF document, the way it is stored, that is incomplete and not correct here. So it's worthwhile to go and check here. Now, if you look at the title, for instance, um, you can see it is quite precise the way it should be. So remember that this is an article from a journal. So here you can see this is the name of the journal, and that is the DOY number. So all of that gives you the idea this is a journal article. So that means over here you have to select journal article. So there can be other types of documents. So you make up your mind as to what needs to be inserted here, but it just is the format for referencing. Right, and by clicking on the authors, you'll see the format in which it has to be stored. Last name followed by the first names. Okay, and every time you enter one author and there's another one, you just simply click enter and it will give you an opportunity to enter another one. Right, and this is the name of the journal. Quite important, the year, the volume, the issue, the pages, and usually if there is an abstract, otherwise you can copy it over here and just put it in there. So all of this is necessary. You see there's the DOY number, the ISSN number. Very interesting to have. You need to have that in here, otherwise your reference will be incomplete once you start referencing it. Obviously, you can just do the reading of your article whilst you are in Mendeley. So, for example, you can decide you want to highlight certain parts, then you do that over here. You see, You can do that, or a couple of sentences. Whatever the case may be, you can change the color to green. If you have certain different ideas, all of that is possible, to highlight it and make it stand out for you. You can also do all kinds of other things with your article. You can make it smaller or bigger. You can zoom in. You can see it full screen. You can make notes, adding a note over here so that you can remind yourself of some idea that you've read in here. So all of this is possible by means of Mendeley. You can also select certain text. Let's say you want to put this in your text. You can either highlight it or add a note or copy selected text to the clipboard. So, so if you need to make a direct quotation in your document, in your paper or your manuscript, you can do it from here, but observing, of course, the whole idea, the notion of plagiarism. So in order to avoid it, please do not just copy and paste. You need to put it in inverted commas in your text to ensure that it is not plagiarized. Okay. Right, so this is how Mendeley looks on the inside. All your articles are here, and sometimes it is like this, where they show the PDF, and then in other times it is like this. So there's no document in here. So if you get a copy of the Act, you can just paste it in here and it will automatically update itself. But sometimes you have a book such as this one, and you just want to, you can't copy it because it's a hard copy. You can't put a copy of the book in here. So in cases like that, you just simply put a manual entry. And looking at your different menu items here at the top, you will see that there are different options. So over here, you want to add. So this is where you can say, I want to add an entry manually. You use this in case you don't have a copy of the book or the article. So then this is the way you go about entering a reference that does not have an electronic copy. So for example, this is the textbook, the name of the textbook. You insert the authors, the year, pages, you put all of that manually in here, okay, and then you save it. Then it will store it in this format. So without a copy of the book, but it will give you still the reference. And here you can see the Child Justice Act 75 of 2008, Victoria government printed, So all of this information is stored, but not the source itself. You can bring in or import Word documents, PDFs, PowerPoints, any kind of information. Here we even have a web page, complete web page. So different formats can be used to install it here. You can also star one of your sources, then you know that this is one that you use frequently, it has an important topic that you are talking about, and so forth. To the left here, you have all your authors in your current library. This is not only for the folder of youth offenders, but for the whole database, the whole library that you have in here. So you can simply search for an author too if you want to, and you will get it. That brings me to the search function. So the search function is up here. The search function is used to search for certain authors, and it is done per the directory. Right, so obviously this author does not appear in here. Okay, it will help if you do it correctly. So here you have, for example, this is the research proposal of a student. Okay, so even that can be stored in here, your documents. So, you can do an author search. You can put in a keyword, like diversion program. Let's put that in. Okay, so here you have diversion program. Okay, so now you know this is the article. Right. So all your documents can be accessed through this very easy search function. The sync button here is really meant to synchronize the different versions uh, of your, you can see down here it is now syncing it. So if you have Mendeley, you've used it on your one machine, and then you go to another machine. All right, so now it is just syncing it to make sure that the two versions are the same. So this is quite a few of the options you have here. So examining these menu items here at the top. So adding folders, adding files, this helps you to just organize your library content and adding entry manually that we've done. Importing. So if you have a reference, you can import it directly from the internet if it has that kind of format. You can export, meaning you can send out you can store your whole collection somewhere on a folder. So that is possible to do. And you can rename you can sync, okay, and quitting. So editing, this is simple copy and paste things that you can do, and you can highlight. All your highlight tools are over here. You can find certain keywords. Okay? The view is just about what is the appearance of your Mendeley. You can go and search for certain terms or go up or down to the next page. And then you have some tools. This is where you can install the web importer. And then if you don't have the MS Word plug-in, we will explain that. The plug-in is really where you install Mendeley on your Word program so that it is available there. We'll just show you just now. Okay, and then you have a help function where you can find help if needed. So this is what Mendeley looks like on the inside, and this is how you actually have to update your library and make sure that all your documents are stored in there. Right, so the previous section we showed you how to enter documents into your library, how to take them from the internet and put them in here. And like I said, you can use the web importer plugin if you are using Mendeley that is not on your desktop but is on the internet itself. For the next section, we will show you how to install the plugin app into Word. Installing the plugin is quite easy. Here you will see mine says uninstall MS Word plugin. That's because I've already installed it on my Word program. So if you have not installed it yet, it will say install MS Word plugin. So all you do is you click here and that will install the plugin into your Word program. So that's quite a simple process to follow. Now that we get to a very important part of using Mendeley, and that is citing within Word. Okay, this is an example from a Word document that I have been working on along with another author. So this is a typical manuscript format that we are writing an article for. So you can see that already there are some references inserted in this document. When it is done in Mendeley, it will show up in gray once you start working on your document. You see. So this means that it has already been, that Mendeley is active here and it is working in this document. So let's say that you need to now insert some form of reference in this document. Okay, now over here you will see this does not highlight. So it means that this was inserted later on and there was probably not a Mendeley on that program when this reference was inserted. Here it is working again, but here it was a manual, a so-called manual entry. So let's say that we want to insert a reference here. We're not happy with the manual one. We want to insert another one here. So what we do is, and this is why you need to have the plug-in ready. So you go to references. So if you have installed the MS Word plugin, you will see that where it says insert citation, it shows down here Mendeley. You see. So that means it has been installed and that's the logo for Mendeley that's in here. Normally your Word program is only equipped with this one, which says insert citation. So it has no logo in there. And this is just the normal citation manager program from within Word as a program. But we don't use that. We are going to use this one. So now, by putting your cursor down here where you want to insert it, you are ready to insert your in-text citation. So for this purpose, you actually need to understand or need to know who the author is you want to cite. And if you do not know the author, you have to go and search for him. Okay, so either you go to Mendeley directly, or you can also, of course, access it simply from by clicking on the button on your PC. So, for example, let's say we want to include this reference to Sonia Berg. Right, so now that is quite easy. I want to say insert citation and I type in Berg. So here we have it. We've got different entries here. And here we have a duplicate entry. So both of them I assume are the same. So you can just put in Berg like that. And then you say OK. Okay. So now we get a message here which says there are 30 references which aren't in your own library. That's fine. So you have to import them first before Mendeley can recognize them in my library. So obviously, because the document was developed by someone else, it's in her library, but not in mine. Okay, but it does not, for now, we are not going to use that function. So we want to say we just say my library. Okay. So what it now wants to do is to take the references from this library and import them into my and library. So, okay, so let's do that. Right, and now it is formatting, you see. Now it has got Berg inserted here. And this is simply how you would do it. But now let's say you want to go to a certain page in Berg. You click on Edit Citation, and it gives the source again. Now you click on that one. Let's say the page number is page 321. And you simply type it in there. There are other options here as well. You can go chapter 2 or column or figure, depending on what it is that you want to reference. But for now, we just use the page one. And yeah, that's it. So now you change it and it goes to Berg 2013, page 321. Okay, so this is the way you insert a single reference. But now you can also add another reference. Let's take, for argument's sake, we want to insert this textbook, right, by Fouché and Rustenberg. Then you simply click OK, and it will add that textbook here as well. So you can insert as many references as you want to. Mendeley will organize them in the correct format. And what is the correct format? The correct format is the one that you have selected here in your style here under references. So in here you have a number of choices. The one that we most often use in social work citations is basically the American Psychological Association. It's either that one or the Harvard style, but make sure if you use the Harvard style is adapted to fit the Poch Harvard style, which is again different to the general Harvard style. Harvard is one of those citation styles that changes a lot and is interpreted differently by different institutions. So there are quite a number of Harvard variations available. And you will see here, I've taken the standard Harvard and I've adapted it to fit, approximately fit the Poch Harvard style that we use at this university. So here you can pick what kind of bibliography you will have. Now, if you have been using Mendeley, there's always the issue of how does your bibliography turn out at the end of the article. So now you know the authors here that we inserted. So let's go and see what happened at the end of the document where we have the bibliography. So here we have the bibliography inserted by Mendeley. Okay, so once again it highlights where you have inserted the bibliography, and incidentally here we have Berg inserted here. All right. So you can go page down to Fouché and Stratum, and here you see the textbook has also been inserted. So what Mendeley does is it compiles a bibliography and it makes it automatically puts it in the correct format, consistent with the style that you have selected here. All right. So this then adapts itself and adjusts itself as you go on and you go cite as you write. So whilst you are writing, you are citing sources, it automatically places them all in the bibliography. So gone are the days where the lecturer has to check whether what you have in your bibliography appears in the text and vice versa. So we no longer have to look at your references. Okay. And you will see that the references are correct, all of them in the correct style, with the punctuation in the right place, with the title in the right place, you know, with the publisher, all that information is inserted in the correct format. You no longer have to worry about these kinds of things, and you will no longer lose marks as a result of that. Okay. So this is the advantage of using a program such as this one for purposes of your referencing. Obviously, over here you will see that these are manual entries that were inserted, as I said, by a computer that did not have Mendeley, or for whatever reason they were inserted um, later on. So it's a manual entry and did not use Mendeley. Okay. So just looking at this, immediately I can see that it's not the same style. And this is what happens if you have to insert your own information without making use of Mendeley, you tend to make errors. So this is incorrect. You know, there must be a full stop, there must be authors. Okay. So you must make doubly sure that you have got all your entries in here correctly. All right. So this is how you cite whilst you are writing within Mendeley. Okay, at this stage you have learned how to use and operate Mendeley. You've also learned how to insert different pieces of literature like articles in either Word or PDF format into Mendeley. You have also been shown how to cite whilst you are writing in Word to make sure that you have the accurate and correct references added for your text. You've also seen how to insert a bibliography. So this concludes the video presentation on using Mendeley, and we wish you good luck. For purposes of fourth year research assignments, you are now forced, it's compulsory, you must use Mendeley or EndNote for purposes of adding references to your text. We will now, if you use manual methods, writing them up yourself, be very critical on those, but we would prefer to see evidence of you using Mendeley because it is just so much more easier to use than doing it manually. Good luck, and we hope you enjoy using Mendeley.